Mojang have rolled out huge changes to the end for the third time this month. Now the end is stunningly purple by default, and this raises the question, why would they be doing this unless they're getting ready for an end update? This has been posited all over the internet, but as your resident contrarian, I would like to make the case in the reverse today, because you can just as convincingly say if they're updating the end now, they're not going to do it in the future, and so today I want to show you the secret changes, they're not listed anywhere on the changelog, and give you the past, present, and future of the end update in Minecraft. With that said, you can subscribe, by the way, to see more of these videos, but let's get started with the important past of the end update. And no, I'm not going to go back to 2015 with the original end update, but I'm going to point out that vibrant visuals and the end has been an interesting combo since the beginning, and if we play the current stable version of Minecraft, like I am right now, I can show you that vibrant visuals is an experimental toggle you can enable, and if you turn it on, you'll see the very first version of the end that they tested. This is an end that is black by default, just like the regular one, but there are these short bursts of purple that will light up the entire sky to be blue. Now, at first we assumed this was just the vibe they were going for with the end, and it is a very interesting one, but clearly it wasn't, because they updated it a few weeks ago so that the end flashes will be purple and last a little bit longer, but the rest of the sky would be black. This was how we assumed the end update was going to finish. However, then we got the current week, which brings us into the end update of the present. So here is what we believe to be the final version of the end that will make its way into the summer drop update. This is the most recent beta and preview, and as you can see, the most notable change is the fact that everything has gone very purple, and now the end flashes are still purple, they're just kind of a light purple. So that means that the end sky stays purple, regardless of whether there's flashes or not, but those flashes are very, very, very light, and yeah, they've kind of gone for a balance between the last two versions. If you're curious, the first version of the end had flashes that turned the sky blue and were kind of rare, and then the second version had flashes that were quite common and were very, very long. This version seems to combine both of those ideas together by having not that rare a flash that also lasts for quite some time. As you can see, the flash isn't a one-time thing that magically goes away, instead it slowly fades out, leaving you with this kind of beautiful purple sky that does seem to be lighter around the edges than it is on the top. This is a beautiful new skybox, if I'm being totally honest, and yeah, I think that this change is really the best of all worlds, but it is very bizarre to see. Minecraft were insistent that the end sky be black, but it seems as though they've kind of softened that stance, and they want something a little bit closer to how vanilla is right now with the purple sky, and honestly, it kind of works. Hello, dragon. What are you, why are you hanging out down there? Okay, you know, I'm not gonna wait, did he destroy his own bedrock? You know, I don't know what's happened here. I'm just gonna not question it, and I'm instead gonna go out to the End Islands. Because here I think is where you can see things clearest with no Ender Dragon to cloud your opinions, so this is what the End Islands look like on the current fancy graphics set. As you can see, there are lots of purple colours here, and the Enderman, the purple, and the chorus fruits, but the sky is this kind of distinct, almost perfect black, and this is just how the Enders looked for as long as people have known it. But if we change our visuals to be a bit more vibrant, wait, what just happened there? The sky, oh, interesting. So the sky is purple until it only turns purple after the first flash, and then it's going back to black. That is not the this is not how it looks in the rest of the world. I'm gonna quickly reload Minecraft and see if that's a bug. Oh, okay, so it must be a bug with how you switch graphics, which still could infer that the rest of this is a bug too. You can see that the sky looks purple, and it's a different amount of purple based on where you are, but it clearly looks like the afterglow of an end flash all of the time, and so maybe it's not meant to be purple, it just kind of accidentally is. I would wager that that's not necessarily true, but the fact that when you switch it, it goes black is an indication that something is being programmed weirdly somewhere, right? Anyway, so the End Islands, if we look at them, are a clear example of where this purple sky really adds to the atmosphere of the place. It almost makes you question, why hasn't it been purple the entire time before? It's clearly the theme of the dimension, and it really adds a lot to the visibility of everything, even if not directly, because when there's no end flashes in the sky, you can see just as much as you could before. As you can see, as the shadows fade away as the end flash does, we've got the same visibility, more or less, as we did before, but the purple sky makes things feel a bit brighter here, and oddly it makes it feel a bit more otherworldly, which is why we have the debates about, does this mean, you know, does all of these changes they've made to the end with Enderman's eyes and the way that the sky works and everything about this dimension having such huge changes, does that mean that they are planning doing an end update? Or does that mean they feel comfortable doing this because they don't need to include it in end update? So now it's time to talk about the future of the end update, and I'm going to start with a case for why we clearly are going to get an update to the end, and why this is a great sign for that, because Mojang going through and putting all this work into the visuals of the end seems like it's a great sign for the rest of it, in the same way that many times in the past we've seen a feature be added to the game only for it to really come into its own another update or two later. Take for example the Elytra. It was good when it first came out, in the first end update by the way, but what really made it much better is the fact that they added the firework boost to it, and then it got great. The same is true for the Caves and Cliffs. I liked Caves and Cliffs after it came out. However, when the Wild update dropped and we had the Deep Dark, all of a sudden the caves just made much more sense, and the biggest piece of fun was added. The same is true even for the Garden Awakens drop. The Pale Garden was a really interesting biome, but it spawned far too rarely, and so after the Spring to Life drop, they made it double as common and allowed woodland mansions to spawn there, so it would actively add to your world rather than taking away. Pale Gardens are now a fun biome to find, and not, oh god, something you have to search 20,000 blocks for, and just that change alone makes it a great part of the world, and so maybe that's what Minecraft is doing with the end now. They're updating it in part now, they're making it look visually great, so that when they add new content, it immediately fits in, and you go, whoa, I didn't realize how great the end looked, because maybe you hadn't paid attention, in the same way that you might not have realized the Elytra was even a viable transport method until they added fireworks. You might not have realized that there were caves and cliffs without having the Deep Dark. I think that sometimes multiple updates is the perfect way to make sure that you actually add features intentionally, and so maybe that's what they're doing here. But to now uninject the hopium, which feels very good, let's be real here, the fact that they're deciding to update the end visually right now in such a huge way, including these end flashes, to me can also be seen as a sign they're doing the exact opposite. I mean, for example, after we got the Nether update in 1.16, Mojang hasn't really touched the Nether much since, because they've already done it in their mind. They spent a whole year working on the Nether, why would they spend more time on it now? Indeed, one of the big arguments against the end update has been that they already did one. The end got an update in 2015 to match the console edition end fight and to add the end islands and the Elytra I just mentioned. That was a huge update, and so you could argue they've already updated the end, why do it again? I mean, it's already got that new functionality, it's just that now we look at it and we say, well, we'd like to have more, but ultimately, when Minecraft is deciding where to best deploy new features, I think they have to take a roll call and say, how many players will actually enjoy this? Even with the Nether update, greater than half of Minecraft players just are never going to experience it, and it's going to be even fewer for the end. And so ultimately, there's just an argument that when they add new pigs, every single player will get to see those at some point, because you see them 20 seconds into a Minecraft world, but if they update the end, you're going to see that new content 20 hours in, and even then, that's if you go to the end. And so as a result, Minecraft are very cagey about if or when they're going to update the end, but the truth is, we already know they are. If we're going to take one fine line and one conclusion from this, I think the end argument is that the end is definitely getting an update. The only thing we argue about is it going to be the next drop? Is it going to be a year from now, or 5 years from now, or 12 years from now? Because we know that the end clearly needs an update eventually, and it would be very popular if they did it, but it's important that they get the ideas right, and that would be the thing I advocate for above all else. I don't want Mojang to make an end update because a lot of people want it, and they could probably squeeze out an easy update. I want them to do an end update right. I don't want it to be 1.21.110. I want it to be 1.22, a huge update that blows us all away. But that's just my optimism coming back, I guess we could say. And so if there's one thing I want to finish this video with, it's the fact that yes, the end is getting an update. It's going to be visually much more stunning, and rather than having to use this as a jumping pad to say, well, that means we're getting new content, and that's what I'm really excited for, I think that the correct thing to do with Mojang, who tend to be quite unpredictable when it comes to feature releases and content updates, is to say, this is a really nice update by itself. If there were more stuff to enjoy one day in these visuals, that would be great, but Vibrant Visuals by itself is absolutely stunning. The summer drop does appear to be one of Minecraft's most interesting drops we've ever seen in terms of what's actually inside of it, and I'm very curious to see what happens when you mix it all together by, I don't know, flying a happy ghast across your end islands. Anyway, with that said, I've got one last question for you, which is which version of the end have you liked the most? I kind of liked the default end until I started seeing Vibrant Visuals, where I started to think, oh, wouldn't it be good if we had those flashes? But at first it was too dark. Now we have this end that's either purple or black, depending on whether we're talking about right now or a week ago, and honestly, I really like both versions a whole bunch more, and every time I go back to regular vanilla end Minecraft, I just get kind of disappointed by comparison, and I think in my opinion, that's what the perfect Minecraft update needs to do, and that's why I'm very excited with the end update we have, and even though we might hope for an end update in the future too, I think that that is just something that would be a nice bonus if it comes, but maybe that's just me. What do you think? Let me know, because I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Yo.